Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm joined today by Natasha Jyoti Samson. Hi, Jyoti. Thanks for joining me today to talk about your recent trip to India and your upcoming Yoga and Ayurveda retreat at the Salt Spring Center of Yoga. So for those who don't know Jyoti, she is an Ayurveda health counselor. She graduated with her Ayurveda counseling diploma in 2018 from Mount Madonna Institute. And she's also been teaching yoga for a number of years after she completed her yoga teacher training at the Salt Spring Center of Yoga. And we're really lucky to have her on staff now as yoga teacher training faculty.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Janelle. I'm so happy to be here. And I'm really excited because, a lot of folks have been asking me these exact questions. And so why not? Let's just share it out.
Exactly. And I think a lot of people are curious. So can you just tell us a little bit about your trip to India, sort of why you decided to go and what your experience was like?
Wow. Yeah. I looked in my emails, and the idea of the original reason why I went to go to India showed up in 2015. So it was a very long time ago. It was my first email to one of my satsang aunties, Kalpana, just asking her, what this thing called panchakarma was. And we'll get to that a little bit later, but that was my very first thought. And I can't believe it was so many years ago when I had decided that I wanted to go to India to do this. But so I went to India, and a lot of folks asked me oh, how was it? You must have come back all stretched out and totally zen and all of these things. And I'm like, I didn't really practice the type of yoga that folks think that I practiced when I went to India. So I wasn't at a major yoga retreat and, doing meditation and all the things, but did I practice yoga? I definitely did, just not what folks normally think is what's happening. And there was a lot of growth and self-awareness, a lot of digging, a lot of difficulty, a lot of releasing stuff that's not serving you, asking for abundance, trying to digest different messages being downloaded. And all of that gets you, closer to your higher self or God or spirit or whatever it is that you resonate with. And it is a spiritual journey going to India, just not exactly what folks might have thought it was.
It sounds intense. What did you find challenging?
Oh my God, so much. I think the biggest thing was I had to surrender to feeling uncomfortable. And so for folks who don't know, I'm also an engineer. And so I'm very used to going into a situation, assessing what's happening and coming out with the most pragmatic solution and moving forward. And I'm a problem solver. That's kind of my thing. And so, I get to India and everything's confusing. Everything is confusing from, how to use the bathroom right off the bat. And, I got a chance to go to our ashram. So in Haridwar, the Sri Ram ashram, even how to sit and eat. I didn't really know how to do that. And I got a chance to go through the Kamon and see the temples and some of the places that Babaji actually visited and lived. And when I was there, it was really difficult to even order a straight black coffee. I just want coffee, no sugar, no milk. And it was the hardest thing to do. And so everything was just I don't know how to do anything. So there was that sort of kind of the things we take for granted that were difficult. And then as I kind of alluded to earlier, I went to do panchakarma, which is this 21-day mind, soul, and body detoxification. It's an Ayurvedic sort of procedure, wellness, it's at that higher level of wanting to detox. And it's sort of a light version of surgery, let's say, in the Ayurveda world. And so I wanted to go do that for 21 days. And even when I was there, because I'm relatively healthy, my detoxification, a lot of it was in my mind. And the confusion when your doctor shows up and he's telling me that I'm selfish and that the desires that I have are standing in the way of me achieving them. And I'm like, okay. and I had to digest that. I didn't go all the way to India to disagree with my Ayurvedic Vidya. And a Vidya is like fourth generation Ayurvedic doctor dedicated to living an Ayurvedic lifestyle. He's, chants the prayers in the morning, highly spiritual person, like when you're in his presence, and he got some sort of divine download. Like he was even closing his eyes and rocking, and he's like telling me, and he tells me the same thing every single day for the 21 days. And I'm like, okay, I have to take this in. I'm not going to show up here to disagree with him. And so how is it, like, how am I being selfish? How am I like strongly holding on to my desires? And, we learn that in our yoga practice from Babaji, from the sutras, we have strong attachment to our desires imprison us. And I understand that, but I thought I was at this like level of like not really holding on to them too much, but it was clear to him it was causing my misery. And I was doing things to get what I wanted rather than doing things from a place of just pure like love and selfless service and all of things. And you can slowly get caught in that when you are passionate and have goals and like really want to accomplish things. And sometimes like you can just like that can get a little bit bigger than connecting with your heart and the real reason why you're doing what you're doing, because we have goals outside of our career. We have goals outside of like, maybe you want a house, maybe you want, children, or maybe whatever it is that you want. You can want them so bad that you might be going after them for the like wrong reason or with the wrong intentions or like misplaced intentions, I guess, not wrong. I don't want to say wrong. So, like I was like in this state where, I was being told like, hey, you're selfish. I'm like, okay, I mean, like, fine, I will take that in. And like, you're not getting what you want because you're like imprisoning yourself. And I'm like, okay. And honestly, that put me in a like serious depression. Like while I was there, it was so hard to just kind of digest that. And I had another doctor, which was really amazing. And he is the opposite. So I had like this highly spiritual, like, I had to like digest all of this stuff with my mind and like dig deep into my like spirituality and like, my like letting go of the ego and all the things. And then I had this other doctor, Dr. Vinod, and he was amazing. And he was like, don't worry. He's like, we're going to just take that excess pitta right out of your head. We're going to detox all of the cells, and then you're going to start thinking properly. And I was like, okay, that sounds great. He's like, don't worry. We'll take care of it. So there's like a second aspect of like, we really have to detox. And, that's something we're going to talk about in the retreat that's coming up, is how to naturally detox the body in this time of year, because like the spring into summer is like perfect time for detoxification.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you talked about sort of going there and feeling physically healthy. So what did a detox look like when you're talking about sort of like the mental emotional side?
Yeah. So I went with my mama, which was really great. And my mom actually had more physical detoxification to do. She's more like older, has more physical issues. And so part of what was going on is I was watching her, like I could see the detoxification happen in her body, like her, like, her stomach was starting to feel better. Like she had like, arthritis sort of in her toes, and like that was going right down, and her feet started to look like normal feet, and I was like, you could see the difference. And so also I'm like watching this happen, and I'm like, how come nothing's going on for me? And Dr. Ramdas, like the Vidya, he could see it. He's like, I can see you're here for yourself, like you're happy your mom's here, but like, you're not here for your mom. You're not here like just totally happy and content that your mom is healing, you know? And I was like, okay, I get that. And also I'm like, you know, I got all the way here and spent all the money to come here. And like, and so, you know, I wanted some healing. There was a selfishness there for sure. But it was really difficult. Like being in panchakarma was wonderful. The staff were amazing and the doctors were amazing. And I got to sit with them and I learned so much from the doctors, you asking them questions like, where else can you go where your doctor sits with you for like 45 minutes every day, you know? And there was also what they called satsang, but that was just like courses. So you could go twice a day to info sessions and learn. And then there was a Q&A with Dr. Ram Kumar, which was amazing. I actually seen him talk at different Ayurvedic conventions, like in Canada. So like, he was like, you know, the big hitter, and he was just hanging out there answering questions. I was like, oh my goodness. So that was really cool to be able to hang out with him. And they had lots of spiritual events happening. So prayers in the morning and things like that. So you were quite busy every day. And there was also like these hours of internet time. So you could hang out with the other patients and use the internet and kind of see like, you know, are you handling the food okay? No, no one likes the food. Okay, good. I'm not the only one that doesn't want to eat the porridge. So, you know, that was really the hard part, was the food, because the food is also medicine and nothing acidic, everything easy to digest, and mostly vegetables. So they didn't mix like a lot of things so that it was difficult to digest. We weren't actually even allowed to like cut our hair or our nails. So the men, like their beards were growing and it was driving them crazy. So it all has to do with like focusing, you know, if you are going to spend time detoxing, then you don't want your body to go through any other additional trauma of, you know, cutting nails or shaving, because then it has to take energy away from the healing. And so you're not doing yourself a service if you're eating foods that difficult to digest when you're trying to detox. It's like pulling away from what your body wants to spend time and energy on. So that was really a neat thing to know. And it was really cool to learn just how the detoxification happens in the body, and how it's more than just sort of, you know, taking in certain types of foods or medicines and those types of things. It's in process. It moves in the body, and it's not surgery where you go in and open yourself up and you like cut the thing out that you don't need and it's gone. It's actually asking your body to perform the surgery itself in a natural way. So it targets the areas, breaks them up, moves the toxins through the bloodstream to like the hollow areas of the body, and then they're exited out the nearest orifice. So it's exhausting. And when you are exhausted, it's more hard to be positive in your mind. Just like, you know, for women, when your flow comes around and it's just like your body's like, okay, time to like get rid of everything and detox the whole system, and then you're like, oh my god, I'm so tired. It's like, I want to eat pizza. I want, you know, when I was at Vaidyagrama, I was like, I just want some toast with like nut butter on it. So like, I just want to eat, you know, my comfort food, because my brain was exhausted. And my doctor, Dr. Vinod, was like, yeah, he's like, when you're simulating a detoxification, all your cells get on board. They're like, oh, we're throwing stuff out. Here, take this, take this, take this. And then he's like, it's exhausting because all your cells are just getting rid of the stuff. And then you start making decisions that might be not so good for you because you're tired. And you just need to know you're doing that so that you can be like, oh yeah, this is my exhausted self asking for pizza. I should probably not eat that. and you know, stick to my detoxification, like sort of food that I'm doing if I want to go through this process. So like, it was kind of like that. But it was so supportive from like all the staff, from even the cleaning lady. She was amazing. And the therapists were really great. They even bathed you after the treatment was over. Like, they didn't want you to use the energy to like wash yourself. Like, everything was done for you. And it was like so gentle and wonderful. And it was like amazing having someone actually like take care of you. Like, even like she would even pick my hand up and like take like everything out of my fingernails, like so gentle. And it was just really moving to be so well taken care of. It's a pretty amazing experience and definitely not easy.
Yeah, it sounds challenging and it does sound amazing. Now, of course, not everybody's going to be able to travel to India and go have a 21-day panchakarma experience. Do you think you'll be bringing any elements of what you experienced or learned in India to your retreat in June?
Yeah, of course. I'm very excited. I learned so much, and I did know quite a bit about natural detoxification. So we are going to talk about the spring and the summer. And when we're talking Ayurveda, we're moving from that heavy, dense winter to that light, hot summer. And that transition in between can be difficult. That's why people get seasonal allergies, and they've got like the weight that they want to take off and all of the things. And so when we talk, we're going to talk about circadian rhythm, and we're going to talk about the food that's available, and like the nature takes care of us. And so the food that we have right now is, the roots, the sprouts, so the roots are going to be, detoxing, and the sprouts are going to be scraping. And then we have our like red deep berries that are going to come out for antioxidants. Like nature just sort of like naturally wants to help us through that detoxification right now. We want to get rid of that excess earth, kapha, and like get like lighter into our heated sort of pitta summer goddess vibe that goes on. And so circadian rhythm wise, there's that, and we're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about like how to naturally support that as well, and different things that will support your detoxification. But another thing that was really cool, we are going to talk about the mind as well, and not only like what I had to go through with kind of digging into what is the thing that's stopping me, what is my barrier, what is my like root cause in my mind. We're not only going to dig that out, but we're also going to be like, okay, what are the different ways that we can use the tools of Ayurveda? So our movement, our circadian rhythm, our habits, and our minds, to help like that natural detoxification that can happen. And so much of what I've learned is, it's not necessarily like all new, but it's this deeper level of understanding. And what I love about this is that, I've done this retreat before, and every time I do the retreat, when I get to learn more, I get to be able to offer those layers of information. And it's always new. It's always so cool to be able to like bring that those little gems. And one of the big things that I did learn is that, it's kind of simple, and it is, really what they tell us in all of our yoga practices, but it's about like just taking things slower. We've talked about overwhelm, and we've talked about, I thought that stress was related to vata, like worrying about the future. And what I realized that I'm not a worrier personally. I have a lot of worriers in my life. However, I would say that I have goals that I want to accomplish, and I have visions, and I'm very passionate, and I'm a hard worker, and I like to make checklists, and I like to check things off my checklist. I mean, I have like a week checklist, a day checklist. I have like a grocery checklist. I have like, everything. And I wouldn't have said that I was stressed at all. I wouldn't have said that I was like overwhelmed necessarily, but I didn't understand at that point that pushing and going and go. It's just a pitta, fire related type of stress rather than a vata, worrying type of stress. And so with the stress like being sort of physically removed through the panchakarma process, where my mind is now is more present. And it's really hard to believe how much happiness and contentment comes from that surrender and not thinking too much and being present. And the interesting thing about it is that I'm not getting less done, I'm getting more done. So that's big. And I would love to unpack that more and just talk about it, because I really want to, meet all of the folks that are coming to this retreat, and let's just play with this and dig it up and like be honest about like, hey, like what is my real issue here, and what is my root cause? And not everyone's ready to dig into the psychology of their own brain. But the great thing about Ayurveda is there are all of these other tools like habits and food and exercise that can help you get to an elevated state where maybe you're ready to like go after that like root cause. So I think it's been really fun.
Great. Yeah. And can you tell us a little bit about why you chose the title, I Want More from Life, for your retreat?
That's a good question. I've been trying to think about what sort of target audience I'm looking for. And this isn't like your typical yoga retreat where you come and it's really relaxing and you do breathing and some gentle asana and you walk in the park and like you go home and you're just like, you've exhaled. This is the kind of retreat that you get that stuff, but you also leave with inspiration and fire in the right place, to direct that and make an actual change, to change the trajectory of your life. And those are the folks that I wanted to pull in. I want to pull in those folks that are like ready to make those changes, that are actually committed, because it's one thing to go to a yoga retreat and have a wonderful weekend and then go right back into your stuff. I would have used another word, but you know what I mean, right? So you go right back into your stuff. And yeah, it was a little like sort of, relaxation away. And it does touch your heart, which is wonderful. But this is meant to actually make those baby steps to your new life. And if you're feeling like you're ready to have life a bit different than what it is, like if you feel like you deep down that you can get that life is more than this, it's more than tolerating, it's more than settling, it's more than tired, it's more than, oh, I can't do anything about my situation, it's just what it is. If you really do feel like, I know it can be better than this, these are the folks that I want to come to this retreat, because it can be better. And, my story would tell that. And I know that these little sort of subtle things that you can do that will change that trajectory to making you feel more content, because it's about how you feel. You may not change your house. You may not change your job. I didn't come back from India or, all of these things and like move out of my place and like change my relationship or any of the things, right? It's the mind that changes. And it's profound how we create our own contentment or our own misery. And so if you're ready to move towards a life of contentment, which I think is better than happy, then, this is the reason. This is why I wanted to call it that, to pull those people in so that they're the ones that are like, yeah, I want more. So I know there's more. Please come, because that's what we're going to talk about and play with and just explore. And yeah.
Great. So Jyoti's retreat is coming up June 23rd to 25th at the Salt Spring Center of Yoga. We'll make the link available to you if you would like to book for yourself. And we'll also leave some of Jyoti's contact information so you can reach out to her directly if you'd like. So thank you so much for joining us today. And we can't wait to have you and to have all of your guests at your retreat.
Thank you so much, Janelle. It's really fun. See you soon.